Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the mid morning show with me, Zaheerah Bham-Ismail, right here at Salam Media. One of our guests who was unable to join us earlier was Nazreen Jutin, and Nazreen runs the Green Door for Sisters of Light, which means all the initial phone calls with abuse, with difficulties, with any form of grief goes to her first, and then she then allocates or guides you rather directly to various platforms. And we wanted to discuss that with Nazreen. Unfortunately, due to one of the cases that was quite pertinent, we had to postpone that. So we will look forward to touching base with her. But one of the sites that we do know is available is the Sisters of Light, which provides a safe haven for women in the community. So women who are going through difficulties or any form of abuse will have a place that they can go to, so that no woman ever gets to say that they are alone. I'd like to welcome onto our show now a very remarkable woman from African Muslim Agency. African Muslim Agency, I must say, has been the sponsor for this week's programs. And it's really something to be able to be putting your name to very difficult conversations that we're having and we're unpacking during this week. So we're very, very grateful to them for supporting this. Fathima is the Durban office manager for African Muslim Agency. Fathima, assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studios.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me. How are you, Zahira?
Alhamdulillah. Oh, well, Fatima, we know that African Muslim Agency does a lot of support network and does a lot with women's organizations throughout the country. And this is not only just through Women's Month, that support is provided throughout the year. What I wanted to find out is specifically for this month, you've been collaborating with a lot of women owned businesses to give support for water projects. Now, whenever people ask me about boreholes or water wells, the first name that always comes to mind is always African Muslim Agency. It's efficient. The reporting back, the pictures, everything is very professionally done. Tell me a little bit about the water projects that you have, because it's not just about putting up a project. This is something that you oversee on a regular basis, and it's about providing clean water across Africa as well as in Middle Eastern countries. Just tell me first about the importance of having these projects. Why has African Muslim Agency put so much of effort or emphasis into something as simple as a water project?
So, water is a basic human right, as we know, and we often take it for granted. We have access to clean drinking water on tap within a few seconds. We open our tap, we have clean drinking water. This isn't the case for many people across Africa and Afghanistan. And we have placed a lot of emphasis on this, and we highlighting this, especially in Women's Month, because this lack of access to clean drinking water affects women especially disproportionately. As you know, African Muslims Agency, as you mentioned, does water wells and boreholes in Africa and Afghanistan, and these significantly improve the lives of women in those countries.
And then, we talk about exactly that, Fatima, with regards to how easily we're able to open our taps. But I think recently, many of us in South Africa, in many areas, realized what it was like to actually go without water. And even though we had access to boreholes coming in, tankers coming in, bottled water, many in these communities that you're going through don't actually have access to any of this. How has your access to clean water improved the lives for girls and women across Africa?
So as you mentioned, we have that, alhamdulillah, if there's no water, there's the municipality provides that tanker, and we're able to go to the stores and purchase that water to drink. This isn't the case in different countries and in some parts of South Africa as well, where people can't just go and buy that water. Alhamdulillah was part of the ladies delegation that visited Malawi this year in Feb, and we visited different communities. And in some of the communities, we actually walk the path of women from their homestead to the source that they would be going daily to, the place they would be walking to every single day to fetch water. So these are contaminated water sources. It's often just a hole where water is collected, or there is some underground water, but it's not regulated. People bath there, people,
Sure.
just use it for washing clothes. And the women in the community now go and fetch this water daily. It's often a few kilometers away, and then walk with this water to and from. And this affects especially the women and the young girls in the community, because now they spend a lot of time, going up and down to fetch this water, time that they could be used for something else, time that girls could use to go to school. The woman could be using it for their crops, etc. So that was something that I saw in Malawi, where how this affects the woman in the communities where there is no water. We also then visited communities that do have access to boreholes and water wells, and there was a remarkable, visible difference. Even from as you drive into the village, you can see the difference, because you can see the crops are growing, the animals look healthier, and the
Mhm.
community overall is just looks much healthier and happier, just by having that access to water.
So for me, what's important and what stands out is you haven't just gone and said, "Oh, we're putting in this water well and there we go." You're actually following up to see the impact that it's had, and you're measuring that impact. So it's a tangible difference that you're seeing being made into the lives of these communities.
Yes, for sure. And we also keep a check on the water wells and boreholes that we construct in Africa and Afghanistan, where we communicate directly with the tribal leaders and the leaders in the community. So if there's, for example, a problem, or there's some issue with the pump, they inform us, and then we go out and do the maintenance of that water well or borehole in those communities.
And what's remarkable is you're doing it the right way. Because I often say to people, we make the mistake of going into communities, trying to take over, doing what we think is right, when in actual fact, you should be dealing with the leaders of those communities, the traditional leaders, and giving them the respect they deserve, because you cannot be bypassing them in this process. So you saying that also stands in such good stead to show the kind of way and the decorum and the respect that African Muslim Agency maintains when it goes out to do this kind of work. Fatima, for Women's Month, as I mentioned, you've been partnering with women owned businesses. Tell me a little bit about that project.
So we put out a message from just before Women's Month. We reached out to women-owned businesses, as well as content creators and medical practices and other allied health professionals, to join us, and by highlighting the plight of this access to clean water, and especially focusing on how this affects women. So basically, how it works is we invited the businesses to either donate any portion of their profits or proceeds for the month of August towards our water projects, or to create a crowdfunding link for a water well or borehole, and then share that with their clients or customers, or to just share our banking details and encourage their clients, customers, to donate directly into the AMA banking account for projects for water, using that business as a reference. We create an advert, and we also share the business's details on our social media pages. And in so doing, we try to give back to those businesses by then also advertising and trying to uplift those businesses that have partnered with us. Alhamdulillah, we have many female powered businesses that have joined us. And it doesn't have to be a very big business. Some of them are small, home based businesses, but we just totally blown away by the reaction and the amount of people that have joined us on this Women's Month initiative.
Fantastic. So if businesses still want to come on board, or any women still want to join, is this still open for the rest of this month, or has this now been closed off?
It's still open. We, as sometimes people don't hear about it, and people we may not have reached, we are still open to women joining us. And, we welcome everyone. And this would continue for Women's Month, but this is something that is, that would run throughout the year. So we invite people to join us, at any time. And we can continue with this throughout the year, inshallah.
And I think what's remarkable about that, Fatima, is, we often talk about women healing communities and women giving back and building their communities. And this is not just building communities that are here, but we also know from an Islamic perspective the reward of giving water to communities. So this is building communities here, but it's also building your akhirah at the same time, inshallah. It's a good way of balancing both. Fatima, how are people able to get in touch with you to be able to get involved with this? Because I think it is such an honorable project to know that you're making a difference. Because what I understand is, even you saying it's open to small industries, to women who are at home, to any woman who wants to be a part of it, because you don't even have to raise the full amount, because any portion will still go a long way in contributing to these wells being put up.
And so no amount is too small, or no donation is too small, and so any amount we welcome. Minimum amount, there's no minimum, I could say, that
Yes.
is too low. Alhamdulillah, for example, we've got women who do painting, and people who do Pilates, like gyms that have joined us, where they said, okay, for the month of August, we'll be hosting a painting class, and part of 100 rand per person, or any amount would go towards a water project. We have home-based businesses. We also have medical practices that are offering something, whatever they're offering on special for the month, then that part of the proceeds of that would go towards our projects, inshallah.
Fantastic. Jazakallah so much, Fatima, for joining us on air. And we look forward to the feedback at the end of the month in terms of how well this project has done, the sustainability of it, and inshallah, the continuation and the impact of it as well. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Fatima Saley joining us from Africa Muslim Agency in the Durban offices on their current new project involving women businesses. And bear in mind, as she mentioned, you don't have to be huge businesses, but they're pushing a drive for any woman in businesses to come and join them to help make a difference to the communities around us by providing water to women across Africa and in Afghanistan. And the one thing, working with them personally on these types of water projects, their feedback is fantastic. You will always be able to see exactly where your money has gone. And that is actually giving a lot of comfort for donors. So Jazakallah to them. I think today has been an interesting discussion that we've been able to have on the platform. Very often we don't get the opportunities to talk about abuse in the manners that allow us to facilitate networks, support networks, avenues for assistance. And today we did just that. From Johara Hassam, Suraya Nawab, Nazreen, who unfortunately was not able to be on air, but we know the support networks that are available. A lot was discussed on self-healing, self-awareness, for you to be able to understand what's okay, what isn't okay, for you to be able to get help. And again, we reiterate that the abuse we're discussing is not just males that are perpetrators, but often also females that are perpetrators. And it's not just physical abuse. It's mental abuse, spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. And this is something we need to be aware of, because we need to stop the generational trauma here. We need to ensure that we've got good support networks around us. We need to be able to reach out, to be able to know the avenues to be able to pursue, so that we make sure our children don't carry these habits and this pain forward, because handing down pain should never be a legacy that we want to carry for ourselves. Jazakallah for joining me on air today. I look forward to sharing the rest of the week with you as we unpack many more uncomfortable conversations. Jazakallah khair. This is Zaheerah Bham-Ismail signing off from the mid-morning show right here at Salam Media. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.